Hello and welcome to Michelle's Where the Fuck Is It in Portland video. Okay, so here's the map of Portland. I'm gonna try, I don't know how to use this, so we'll see how it works, but I'm gonna try to move around and make sure that you're seeing what I see. Please bear with me. Okay, so if we zoom in, Milwaukee, so that, I don't know what that is actually. Okay, so this is where we live. We actually, oh, there it is. The heart right there is our house. Okay. No, actually, that's somebody else's house, but they live like 3 blocks from us. So, in general, this is where we live. And then if we zoom back out, let me make sure it can still see. Okay. If you look up, yeah. So this is where I work. My district is Maggie. My district is in this general area. So we are east of 205 and north of the river. So my main building is like right in here. And I go across, take 205 up and over. And I would say it takes me an average of about 40 minutes to get there. If traffic is worse, sometimes it's closer to an hour, but I would say like 40 minutes is pretty average. Okay, so general things to know about Portland. This right here is the Willamette River. It runs north-south. It actually runs north to south, which is kind of weird for a river, but that's the Willamette, and it divides Portland into east and west. So we live in the east side of Portland, which I like to think of as the cool side. It's kind of where, like, maybe I'm biased, but it's kind of where, like, the, lower income, a lot of like the hipsters live, and it's kind of like the cool side of town, whereas the west side tends to be yuppie, like people with a shitload of money and suburbs. So basically, if you zoom in here, okay, so right along here, you can't see them, but right in here about where the zoo is, up and down, there's a big ass hill. So everything from that towards the river is either downtown or you can't afford it. It's called the West Hills. It's where all the rich people live. You know the Everclear song that's like, I will buy you a big house way up in the West Hills? That's what it's from. Everclear was from here. So, that's where all the rich people live. So if you were looking at anything on the west side, you would have to look at, why doesn't this stay? You would have to look at something west of that. So I would think somewhere in the Beaverton area. However, Beaverton is like total suburbia. So basically chain restaurants, lots of shopping malls, and housing developments. It's not terrible. We actually lived there when we first moved here, but it's not very, like, if you're looking for the Portland experience, it's not there. That's pretty much suburbia. It's all white people. I mean, Portland in general is mostly white people, but Beaverton is definitely all white people. This road right here, 217, sucks. There is always traffic. I hate that road. Avoid it at all costs. I would honestly not buy a house or live anywhere in this area that I had to use 217 to get home, because it is a shit show. My parents live down here right near Cook Park. That area is nice if you can find anything down there in Tigard, Tualatin, but it also is expensive. Lake Oswego is super ritzy. It goes from I-5 to the river in this area. We call it Lake No Negro because the only black people that live there are on the Portland Trail Blazers. Okay, so in general, the west side, like I said, is the West Hills and then suburbia. The east side Let me bring my square up again to make sure I know what you're seeing. Okay. The east side is, we'll start at the top. Okay, so this is considered North Portland. It is not bad, but like if there is a ghetto in Portland, it's up there. And by everywhere else's standards, it's not a ghetto. But that's where all the black people live, honestly. So if there is a bad part of town, it would be North Portland. I would say North Portland is about half bad part of town and half hipsters. As you move down, hold on a second. Let me see if I might have to deal with a child incident. Pause. We were having a pooping incident. Okay, east side. Okay, so then in here, this is northeast. Oh, I forgot to tell you. So the river divides it east and west. Burnside, which is a street. Let me see if I can zoom in so I can show you where it is. Belmont, Burnside, here it is. Burnside right here divides it north and south. So if it's above Burnside, it's north. If it's below Burnside, it's south. And if it's on Burnside, it's east or west. So everything up here is considered northeast. The majority of, so close in is what we call near the river. So close, anything close in is considered probably like 50th and in. All of the streets, so the lower the number, the closer to the river, the higher number, the farther away. So anything under 50th is probably close in. It's a pretty easy city to figure out as far as everything's gridded. You know, there's north, south, east, west, and then the numbers, so it's like you can get a good idea of where the hell something's at. But most of Northeast is pretty expensive, especially up in this area, Alberta, Grant High School, like kind of along, where am I looking at? Sandy Boulevard, which is right here, Grant Park. This is all pretty big houses and expensive. As you move out this way, you can probably find stuff in Northeast, but the neighborhoods change like kind of on a block to block basis. So I honestly would have to like go there and check it out to tell you, unless I know specifically that area. Southeast, I feel like you would probably have a better bet. I think you were looking at a house in Woodstock, which is a good area. So Mount Tabor is great, but can be expensive. Buckman, Woodstock's down here. All of this is a good bet. And then Woodstock kind of connects to Milwaukee, Sellwood. So Sellwood's like kind of the place where all the families want to live. It's uber expensive. They have beautiful parks. It's amazing, but I can't afford to live there. There's like places you can walk to go eat, and you know, it's like perfect, but it's also crazy expensive. This is like our favorite playground, but we don't live too far from it, so it's like 10 minutes away. And then this whole area, I would say, is good. This whole Woodstock, Johnson Creek, even out into Harmony. You could go to the other side of 205. Happy Valley's pretty suburbia, but anything out here, I would say until you get out towards Gresham. And then I don't think Gresham's as bad as it used to be, but it gets kind of sketchy out in Gresham. As well as anything above 84, I would not do. This whole area is pretty sketchy. That's where we used to live, and it's gone downhill dramatically. So that's pretty much the general east side. I would also highly recommend Gladstone and Oregon City. It depends on where you're going to be working and if you want to be out that far, but Oregon City is pretty awesome. I would definitely live there, and it's pretty close to us. And then I don't know a lot about Vancouver other than where I work. So if you are looking at Vancouver at all, I'm going to have to ask somebody because I don't know neighborhoods very well, but I work in this general area. So that's kind of all I can tell you about as far as that goes. I think that's all I can think of for right now. Like I said, if you have like a specific area that you're looking at, I can tell you more about it. I can look at a specific area. If you have like an address, I can tell you what I know about that area. We have lived in Beaverton. We lived up by the airport, which is in here. And now we live in Milwaukee. My parents live in Tualatin. My sister lives in Southwest in an expensive neighborhood. I know, hold on. I have friends pretty much all over the city, so I can tell you. Just let me know.